I want to give you a staggering thought about coronavirus deaths in our country. They've now reached the level that equals the combined number of combat deaths of our soldiers in both World War I and World War II. I mean, how do we grasp that? How do we get our heads around that? And so I'm asking that China be investigated simply. And here's why. China has said themselves this virus started in their country. Specifically, they said it's from a wet market, an animal market in a city called Wuhan. That city, by the way, is larger than New York City. Now, let me tell you some areas I have problems. Number one, let's take the two largest cities in our country, New York and Los Angeles. Right now, they have already surpassed total together over 50,000 COVID deaths. If we look at the two largest cities in China, by the way, China is where the virus started. They've admitted that. The two largest cities in China, Shanghai with a population of 24 million, Beijing 20 million, those two cities combined, guess how many coronavirus deaths they've had according to China? 14. Listen, I can stop right here and say, wait a second. I'm sorry, that just doesn't add up to me. You look at the nation as a whole, 1.4 billion people in China. That's over a billion people than we have in this country. Yet in the entire nation of China, where the virus began, only 87,000 cases and 4,600 deaths. Tell me, please, how that's possible. If I'm to believe those numbers, I would have to be an idiot. So we need to look into those. What is going on? And then there's another part of this. You know, it was Tom Cotton who came out a year ago, last January, when this thing first started taking hold in our country, and he pointed out there was a lab in Wuhan. It's the only lab of its kind in China that deals with viruses like this. It also serves the Chinese military. He made the point, that's a pretty big coincidence. And you know what? I agree. I mean, that makes sense to me. Now, are we accusing China of something? Of course not. We're just saying, allow us to look into this, investigate this. Because let me tell you something. If this was something more than an accident, if there was some intent involved with this from that Chinese lab, that is an act of war, not only the greatest against our country, but the greatest in the history of humanity. And every finger, instead of pointing at each other about masks and stupid shutdowns that don't even work, we need to all point our fingers together at China and say, hey, listen, this is serious business. You had better help us clean your record up, get to the bottom of this. And at a minimum, maybe we'll learn some things about the start of this that will save lives going forward. But listen, my friends, China has got to be looked into.